Uiteindelik Vrydag, nog 'n week is verby. Steek die vure aan en oor die hele kontry. Boetie, sussie, almal saam, oupa en ouma ook. Los jou worries by die huis, want hierdie boerejol gaan kook. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die borstel vure brand, en die konsertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vandaan. Wat is 'n braai, sonder aardappelslaai, terwyl maar het maak, en die kinders stokbrood braai. Al pas sy gitaar uit, met die concertina saam. Vanaand gaan ons tiekie draai, laat die stof so staan. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die bosveld vure brand, en die concertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vanaand. En laat aan das ons opkyk na die sterre en die maan. Dis dan wanneer oom Koos vir ons boekstories vertel. Kort voor lank is die kinders bang, wil niemand meer gaan slaap. Dan haal pas sy gitaar uit, met die concertina staan. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die bosveld vure brand, en die concertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vanaand. Goeienaand, baie welkom, lekker om hier te wees. Kom ons kry die keer aan die gang. Dis lockdown. Ja, ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die bosveld vure brand, en die concertina praat. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vanaand. Ons gaan dans, dis lekker Vrydag gaan, waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vanaand. Waar die kindertjies baljaar op hierdie boerejol vanaand, en waar die bosveld vure brand, op hierdie boerejol vanaand. Is die mooiste mooi vir my, tot in jou vlaktes waar ek al my drome kry, tot in jou berge, jou riviere, waterstrome, bekoor jy my. Ek kan vir altyd net hier na jou skoonheid staan, want waar het ek ooit so iets gewaar. Jy's beautiful verby vir my, dis hier by jou waar ek wil bly. Suid-Afrika, jy's my mooiste land. Suid-Afrika, ja dis jy wat my dra, maar wat het geword van ons reënboognasie, wat hande so vat, en saam so staan. Suid-Afrika, ja ons sien in die trane. Suid-Afrika, wat rou jou wange, wanneer sal ons leer dat ons mense, ons maak jou sien. Daar is so baie wat ek jou wil vra, gaan ons betaal vir die letsels wat jy dra. Ek weet die plan was nooit dat ons so moet beklei my land, maar sê vir my. Ek weet dis baie lang om met die hoes verby. Jou kop al zwaar my land, maar sê toch nie vir my. Wat kan van jou word my land? Suid-Afrika, jy's my mooiste land. Suid-Afrika, ja dis jy wat my dra, maar wat het geword van ons reënboognasie, wat hande so vat, en saam so staan. Suid-Afrika, ja ons sien in die trane. Suid-Afrika, wat rou oor jou wange, wanneer sal Suid-Afrika, ja dis jy wat my dra, maar wat het geword van ons reënboognasie, wat hande sal vat, en saam so staan, Suid-Afrika, ja sien die trane, Suid-Afrika, wat rou oor jou wange, wanneer sal ons leer dat ons mense, ons maak jou sien. Wanneer sal ons leer dat ons mense, ons maak jou sien. Suid-Afrika.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Whew. November 15th. Time keeps on slipping away, folks. Time keeps on slipping away. Oh, that sounds horrible. Good Lord. I wonder if I turn it off on here. Let's see if that makes a difference. All right, let's try this again and see if it's any better. All right, let's try this again and see if it's any better. Yeah, it is. Let's try this again and see if it's any... Actually, it is better. All I did was turn it off in the software. Maybe I don't have to unplug it all the time. It's just the software. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Friday, November 15th, 2024. Time keeps on slipping away. Indeed does. It goes right before we know it. Hey, today, folks, the poser-in-chief, Cyril Ramaphosa, that's his name. He'll be speaking tonight in South Africa, 7:30. That's 12:30 my time. And I'll be covering that, talking about food poisoning in South Africa. The president coming on. That's how serious the situation has gotten in South Africa. The ANC is even paying attention to it. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. Listen, I really appreciate thoughtful, legitimate questions, and a lot of my viewers provide them. Before we got started today, John Jarvis asked a very pertinent and relevant question. Is that redundant? Pertinent and relevant? It's sort of redundant. They're almost the same. Anyway, but it's a very redundant, not redundant. No, redundant is not the right word. It's a pertinent question. He did ask a pertinent question. They aren't the same. He asked a pertinent question, and he followed up with another pertinent question. That pertinent question was related to the people who work, like, I believe, if I understood him correctly, who work in the Social Security Administration and those who work in all the departments that provide and do the things of Medicare, Medicaid, and all that. He asked a question about their salaries. That was included in the pie chart that I showed, which wasn't my chart. It was from the internet. Yeah, that would be the case. So for the Social Security Administration, which employs a lot of people, tens of thousands of people. The IRS employs a lot of people, but that's not the non-discretionary. That's discretionary. But the non-discretionary expenditures to pay people benefits, that can't be touched unless the laws change. But you can reduce staff and benefits and perks. That can definitely make an impact. So yeah, there's potentially something there for Elon Musk and for Vivek Ramaswamy to go after. Anyway, so Jim B is nice, says Jan. You don't like Johnny Walker? All right, let's go ahead and get to the chat and say hello to everybody. Then we're going to talk about the police state that is the United Kingdom. It's quite frightening what is going on, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely bat crap frightening what is happening in the United Kingdom. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's just crazy. It's just crazy what's going on. They're convicting people of non-existent crimes and sending them to prison for doing nothing. They're not committing crimes and they're going to prison. The UK is gone. It's absolutely gone. If you're white, Anglo-Saxon, and you are a citizen of the United Kingdom, you are a third-class citizen now. You have no rights to free speech. You have no rights to freedom of assembly. You have no rights to your own country. You have no rights to protect your daughters from being groomed and sexually exploited by people from outside the country. You have no rights. None whatsoever. This is indeed. That is what the United Kingdom has become. This movie starring Natalie Portman from 2 decades ago was a prescient movie. The United Kingdom under fascist, National Socialist, British Workers' Party leader Keir Starmer is a fascist totalitarian state which is turned on its own citizens. This is beyond the pale, sick and twisted. The Vox Populi has in fact come to the United Kingdom. It is not united. It is a disjointed and it is a prison state which attacks its very own citizens. And it is not a legitimate state. It's no longer the legitimate state. The United Kingdom is not a legitimate state. It has surrendered its legitimacy to woke nonsense, arresting British citizens for non-crimes. The latest is a young lady who was arrested for filming an event, live streaming it on TikTok. And she called criminal alien invaders, or whoever they were, I don't know who they were, but they were migrants, immigrants, whatever fake term we're using to explain people who exploit sovereignty and invade a country. Whatever term we're using today, she called them tramps. And for that, she was sent to prison for 9 months. It's shocking. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But let me greet everybody before we get into the police state that is the United Kingdom. Keith Alderson. By the way, where's the king? Where's the king? Why is King Charles silent on this? Stop your green fantasies, Chucky, and start speaking up for your citizens. Keith Alderson, Hakan Engman, Teresa Val Cooper, John Jarvis had good question. Petra Myberg is back. Petra, where's your other half there? Brian Lawrenson, Gerhard Steenkamp, Vilma Erasmus, Garrett Gillich in from Somerset West. Dylan Combrick is here. And then who else have we got there? Keith Alderson, speaking of the United Kingdom. Keith, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Be careful what you say. Say nothing. Say nothing. Take no pictures. Do not be seen in public. You can't go out in public in the UK. If you're white and British, it's all over. Game over. Double Dose Giselle. She is easy on the mind and on the heart. Richard Kuhn is here. Welcome to you. There's Erica. Harley Quinn is back. Good to see you again. And John thanked me for answering the questions. My pleasure, John. Thank you for the thoughtful questions. And Erica says exactly. Well, look, I mean, it's anecdotal. We did it one time, but I mean, I've done it multiple times. But I mean, look, I'm willing to listen to my viewers and adjust things. I mean, after all, if you are the greatest of all time, the GOAT, you got to pay it back. Yes, the squirrel is so boring. And I expect tonight I'll be sitting here like this because it's not anything interesting. But I am going to cover it because it is newsworthy. We'll see what he's got to say. The squirrel. All right. What else we got here? I wonder if paying attention and doing something are the same. Yeah, they're not. John Bolton said Tulsi Gabbard's the worst pick in history. Yeah, John Bolton is a neocon slimeball. Oh, there, I said it. Yes, John Bolton. I met him. Oof. Nasty character. Yeah, I really don't care what John Bolton has said. I don't like Tulsi Gabbard. I think my audience knows I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan. I mean, I'm glad she supported Trump, and I expected she would get some sort of appointment in the Trump administration. I have no beef with that. But she's not the right pick for the DNI. But John Bolton doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not the right pick for, picking up the trash on the highway. So, John Bolton should just fade into the distance and be quiet because nobody wants to hear what he's got to say. First off, he'll only get in the Republican administration, and he won't get in the next 4 years, so he'll be like in his late 70s by the time that 4 years is over. Then, if the Republicans don't win, he won't be in. That's another 4 years or possibly 8 years. So he's done. He's a has-been, and he's gone. Mike, how's it going there? Good to see you again. Alter says, my favorite Giselle song, full of Good Friday night playing guitar. Which one, Bourgeois or Side Africa? Neville Purton's back. Good to see you again, Neville. Pablo Charlie, Keir Starmer is beyond a buffoon. He's a criminal. He's an absolute criminal. He is leading a fascist totalitarian state, and the world's looking the other way. Donald Trump will need to send a strong message to the fascists running the United Kingdom that we will not tolerate this treatment of our nationals in your country. George is in from Heckport. George Steinberg, welcome back. Charmaine is back. It's really scary what people have allowed the governments to get away with. Stand divided and fall alone. That's what's happening in the UK. It's exactly what's happening. And they tried it here in the U.S. We got close to it. We got people in jail for things that they didn't do. We got people who defend life who've been put in prison for nonviolent action under a bogus law that was passed under the Clinton administration, but now was used to frightening effect by the Biden corrupt Department of Injustice. So many woke leaders in the world say it's time to wake up. It is. Well, America has woken up. We have woken up. Now, I heard Justine Bateman last night. I had the TV on after I finished doing some work. It was late. I didn't get back till 10:30 last night, ate something, and I was wide awake because I'd eaten, and had a hard time falling asleep. So I spent a lot of time on TikTok last night. TikTok, I love it. TikTok is so funny, man. Sometimes it's so funny. But anyway, so last night it was TikTok. Those of you who are in some of the groups saw some of the TikToks I sent out. Some of them are just hilarious. My favorite one was you got Kamala Harris saying, "Oh, we're gonna win. We're gonna win." That little kid sitting in his car seat going, "Bullshit." It's too funny. Then the other one is they've got the Trump going, They're eating the dogs and cats. They're eating the pets. They're eating the dogs and cats. And you got people filming their cats. The cats are sitting there. They're eating the dogs and cats, and the cat's like, Those are just too funny, man. Sorry, you need a lighthearted moment. Krista says all our companies in this are all companies this strict in America with time, as my company is complaining I work too much. No, most privately owned enterprises don't complain about you working too much. The exception, of course, are union steward shops. I was endlessly harassed when I worked for United Parcel Service, making $9 an hour in 1988. That was some coin in Appalachia. I used that money to finance a new car and pay off tuition and leave college pretty much almost debt-free from that time around. I still had a previous loan, which I paid off very quickly. But yeah, no, I was harassed endlessly by the Teamsters. They would come and harass me. What are you doing? You have to get off the clock. You can only work so many hours. Oh, so you're limiting my income so that I'm a part-time employee so that it doesn't upset your balance of the work ratio who's full and part-time. Oh, shut up. Piss off. Oh, you're working. You shouldn't be here. No, I have a job to do. No, you can't be on the clock. Well, okay. Well, you can't work off the clock. Oh, piss off. You bastards steal $25 out of my paycheck every week, no matter what I make. $100 a month. Slimy sleazeball Teamsters. Tulsi Gabbard looks extremely proud of her. What's Tulsi Gabbard looks proud of himself? What the hell does that mean, Pablo? Kobus van Niekerk. Okay. I work remotely for an American company. I have to do 40 hours a week. I always tend to do extra hours. Don't get paid overtime. What do you mean strict? Strict about not paying you overtime? That's illegal. Now, every state's had different labor laws, but it's illegal generally to work off the clock for a company and not be compensated. Now, you can do it on your own accord, but if they tell you to work and then don't pay you for it, then you got a problem. I'm not sure I understand your question. I apologize. I missed the first part of that, Christo. The king, he has a very strange brother. Yeah, he has a very strange family. The Brits killed 007, replaced by symbology. What? Kingdom means nothing when your king is a traitor. Can't display our Union Jack now in the UK. I know, it's crazy, Keith. It's absolutely crazy. Kemi Bodnook for PM, says Pablo, okay? Okay, so, yeah, sure. You already let the Indians take over, might as well let the Nigerians take over. To be fair, she is a Brit, and it is the United Kingdom, but she's not in charge of England. Arctic doesn't get the whole TikTok thing. Yeah, I understand. I'm an early adopter of technology, no matter what it is. That's why I'm so busy doing journalistic stuff that I get kind of distracted and miss out on some of the happenings. And I'm kind of behind on some tech things recently, like the whole poly market thing. I just kind of ignored it. Now it's like a big deal. Normally I'd be all over that, like white on rice. Johnny Metro, because he's in on the scam, probably. Yeah, Christo, I missed the first message. So did I get it straight now? Shawnee says, happy Friday. Excellent. Keith Aldis, a monthly paid staff. UK often have to work more than their basic hours. Johnny says, maybe he's not familiar with Made In. What's Made In? What are you talking about, man? What are we talking about there? Hardest Pretorius. Well, that's an interesting name. Says hello. Yeah, I'm having a Lecca Friday. Attention span is longer than 30 seconds, so TikTok bores me to death. My company's like that, says Alta Bridge in Australia. Work 40 hours, and after that, you get paid at the usual rate, no overtime. Oh, well, usually overtime is time and a half, and if you work holidays, it's double time. That's normally the standard in America. But yeah, no, let me take a quick peek here before we go any further. Hey, Light Rain, how's it going? Is it actually raining out there in the Pacific Northwest? It's raining here in central Pennsylvania, and it definitely is raining here. I sent a few of these. It's hard to see which one's which. So let me see. I'll go to a place where nobody actually puts anything in there except me. Oh, yeah, here's one of the cat ones. It's asking me to join my own site. That's dumb.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. They're eating the dogs.
The cat's just licking his hands. The cat's just licking its hands. Clear here, rain earlier, says Mike. Okay. So these are just so funny. Let me see if this is the one.
It's just a goat.
And I love you.
Where are you going?
I heard what you said at
I
first.
love you. Where are you going? Are you going home?
Yeah.
Fucking damn it. Oh, fucking damn it. Fuck,
Oh, fucking damn it.
He said he not messing with both of us. What? Did you say the N-word?
No, he did say the N-word.
Did you hear that? What are you saying to me?
Fuck off. Fuck off.
Excuse me?
Fuck off. Going outside.
It's just a door.
Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. That's sorry. That's some of his TikTok and some of this is too funny, man. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, I'll stop there. These kids, you can't say those things around little kids, man. They just absorb everything. They're sponges. It's a fucking goat. No, baby, it's just a goat. No, it's a fucking goat. And a little kid comes out, the black kid calls the guy an effing bitch. What'd you say? I heard what you said. No, I love you. It's okay. God, this stuff is too funny. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Johnny Mattress says, Jan Fion is trying to ask Pablo if he likes black women. Okay. Why? Who would care? None of my business. There's so much criticism of RFK's appointment to Secretary of Health. Yeah, there is. There's a lot of criticism. A lot of criticism of Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, Pete Hegseth as Defense Minister, as Defense Secretary, and then Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence. Lots of criticism. It was bound to happen. These are controversial picks for different reasons. Gaetz because of supposed scandals around him. Then we also have not just Gaetz, we have the issue with Pete Hegseth, who's a lightweight, according to many people, and I don't disagree in many respects. Doesn't mean he can't do a good job. And then the Robert Kennedy, because the Democrats are angry. This is a Kennedy. He's a scion of the Kennedy family. Now, the turncoat scumbags in his own family denounced him, and fine, because they're sick, demented Democrats. They're not legitimate Americans. They just tied to a party that's corrupt. He actually left that party, and he's teamed up with Trump to make the country better. So that's why they're hurt there. The Tulsi Gabbard, they're angry because she's not a Democrat anymore. But the Democratic Party conspired against her. The Democrats put forward women, and atrocious women. Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton. Wipe at the server with a cloth. These arrogant asshats, the worst candidates possible. And we are apparently misogynist because we don't vote for these dipshits. But they had a good candidate in Tulsi Gabbard. Not somebody I would have voted for, but a lot of people would have voted for. But they just pushed her off the side, hit her, we're going to deny her opportunities to be on the debate stage because she mops the floor with all of those useless Democratic candidates. And they did the same thing to Kennedy. They tried to take him off the ballots. Then when he withdrew from the race and he asked the courts to take him off the ballots, they fought with lawsuits to keep him on the ballot to disrupt the race. They're just scumbag liars. There is no redeeming quality whatsoever to the Democratic Party. And to the 70+ million morons who voted for Kamala Harris, you people really need an enema. Because your head is so far up your ass that you must be spelling shit for days on end. Unbelievable. Johnny says, I never asked Jan. Jan asked you, you're missing the point. Any South Africans familiar with the expression he mentioned? I didn't see what he said. Okay, you're talking in circles here. Jan has never asked me a question like that. I'm going back and... Oh, I see what he said. Yeah, okay, well, we don't need that, Jan. We don't need that. And Johnny, if it disturbs you, then simply block Jan's chat. It's not my job to follow the chat. This is the news program. We haven't got to the news, but thank you for sharing that. I just ask people to behave themselves. There's no need for rude commentary. So anyway, I'm not sure what you were going for there. Is that what you wanted? Did you want me to intervene? Did you want one of my moderators to censor him? What exactly are you looking for, Johnny? I politely asked for people to behave. I think that should be sufficient. For Chief Beard Secretary. Anyway, all right, cool. So, Yeah, I'm looking to be getting dragged into whatever people are trying to pull off over here. Hey, Leah, how's it going? Your son just got you TikTok. What do you mean just got you TikTok? I mean, put it on your phone? It's not like you acquire it. It's not something you pick up. Hey, before the new news, let me share a couple things I picked up a week or two ago. What are your thoughts on this? Let me just show you. First off, I always put things up on my shelf. So Christmas is coming. After we get to Thanksgiving, this will go up on my shelf. It's kind of a cartoonish one, but it's kind of neat. I got myself a creche and a nativity scene. What do you think of that? That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, so that'll go up on the shelf once it's after Thanksgiving, which is very close nearby. Also, this was on sale for about a third of the price off. It was a pretty good deal. Yeah, so this is for when I travel, for broadcasting and such. Check it out. So it's a pop-up movie theater kit with a foldable screen, a projector, and a wireless Bluetooth speaker. How cool is that? That's kind of cool, huh? Of course, it's all probably made in China, but that's not the point. But yeah, so yeah, it even came with an HDMI cable, which is kind of nice. I don't have to buy one. Of course, I've got spares as a tech guy. I've always got stuff like that around. But it's kind of cool. So it's a larger-than-life picture and sound you can take anywhere. It doesn't weigh that much. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So if I make my way back to South Africa, I might want to use it. Started to bake cookies for Christmas. Oh, that's awesome, Vilma. I love Christmas cookies, especially sugar cookies. I got TikTok off a dirty old clock. Stop that. The Dems are so dementally brainwashed by their sheep herders, it's a lost cause. Yeah, no, it's like talking to the television. Exactly. Don't do that. Hey, listen, you can talk to the television all day long. It isn't going to change the reality, folks. Nothing changes by talking to television. You may feel better, but nothing changes. Anyway, I got to go back to one of these TikToks because that stuff is so funny. And then we'll get to the news. Got a lot. We're going to talk about a lot of U.S. news today. A little bit of South Africa. I did find several articles worth talking about, but come on, let me find one of these other ones here.
Why am I upset? Because my songs you do not want to.
Oh, no, I don't want to do that because I'll get in trouble. That'll be a copyright claim. Darn for sure that one will be a copyright claim. So let me see. What's this one?
They're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets. They're eating the
Look at the cat.
dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets. They're eating the dogs. The people that came. Here's how much.
Sorry, it's just too funny, folks. It's too funny. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. So that's going to be a beep forever. Your comments about Democrats might have rated as non-crime hate speech. Doesn't get one locked up here in the UK, but goes on file. Non-crime hate speech. Good God. Oh, my goodness. Chris, you should watch the latest Briefmarke. It's hilarious. You take 8 years for a 3-year degree in tree climbing. Maryland, the cats. They're eating what? Sorry, TikTok. Look, it's like a sugar high. It's crazy. What was the voter turnout percentage of the adult population? As the adult population, I don't know. I'd have to guesstimate. But voter turnout was high in the U.S. Historically, it had been low until the last 3 or 4 elections. It's improved a bit. But the total number of votes right now, Trump is over 76 million and rising as the votes come in from the West Coast. And let me get to that real quick. Where's the Trump? That's not it. There it is. Okay. As of, this has been updated today, but Trump has 76,068,135 votes, and I'm one of those 135. Kamala Harris has 73 million, which would be the most ever for a Democratic candidate in a presidential race. Oh, I know. You're going to tell me 2020. It doesn't count. Yeah. So this will be the most ever. So that's 149. That's 151 million votes so far. And that's 97% counted. So that's 97% counted. It's about 3 million for 100 million, about 4.5 million votes left to be counted. So there's no way that she overtakes Trump at this stage. California has finally got their count up to about 89% of votes as of last night. Oregon at 94%. Washington State at 95%. And that's pretty much it. Everybody else is over 95 to 99% of the votes. So there's not much left out there. Yeah. So as a percentage, some states, I had that map up the other day. Pennsylvania had like a 70% turnout. That's shockingly high. Very good stuff. Please play Dad's Army clip. I'm not doing Dad's Army clip. Pablo Stoltman, Hank Mudge. Okay. Any news on upcoming Namibia voting? No, Garrett, nothing on that. I didn't look up anything on that today, although I should because it's just around the corner. South Africa's government says it was not willing to help. Yeah, I was going to make a video on that yesterday. I made some notes for a script, some notes that I reference when I'm making the video, and got some graphics to put in there. But then news broke on that again today, so I'm going to talk about that. What is that percent of registered voters? Well, Pennsylvania was 70%. I don't know across the board in the whole country. Turnout was pretty much above 60% everywhere from what we can see, which is a very good turnout. And a lot of places were approaching 70%. So is it the 30th, I think? I'd have to look it up. I don't remember off the top of my head, Pablo. I think it's the 30th. Anyway. All right, so back to the police state known as the United Kingdom. United Prison is what it is. Yes, His Majesty's Prison Service imprisoning majority Brit citizens because of their skin color and because they dare to defy the corrupt government that is the United Kingdom. So we're going to talk about a young lady who's been sentenced to 9 months in prison because she live streamed the activities of criminals. Well, purported criminals anyway. And they got her for hate speech because she called them tramps. Seriously? A care worker who streamed a riot aftermath is jailed. Cameron Bell, 23 years of age, was caught on CCTV wearing her work uniform as about 20 people, many armed with planks of wood and what appeared to be lengths of metal, walked through Tamworth on August 4th. The Stafford Crown Court heard Bell was not present during the violence earlier the same day at the town's Holiday Inn Express, which was set alight at the disorder. Judge John Edwards and Bell said Bell's comments on the live stream were abhorrent and had the potential to fan flames. A rude comment is not something that incites flames. Someone's behavior. Look, if you encourage violence, that's one thing. But if you call people names, that's not encouraging violence. This is the dumbest thing ever. So, rejecting calls for a suspended sentence, he said anyone involved in violent disorder must command immediate custody with the need for deterrence being acute. Well, any judge who's as corrupt as this guy needs to be disbarred and prosecuted for prosecutorial misconduct. This is judicial misconduct here. The potential to fan flames, anyone involved in the violent disorder. She wasn't involved in the violent disorder. She was live streaming the event. So if BBC shows up and live streams it, they're going to go to jail? No, they won't because they're state propaganda. He was shown TikTok videos filmed by Bell of Worthing Grove, Tamworth, after she left work and saw the armed group as she walked home. She wasn't the armed group. She was heard swearing while referring to asylum seekers as tramps. Tramps is an offensive word? No, it's a descriptive word for people who live rough. She admitted to violent disorder because they threatened her and put her in prison. She appeared in court on the verge of tears. Her lawyer, Stephen Rudge, told the court she was on the periphery of a group which had not confronted anyone. They weren't doing anything. Mr. Rudge said her involvement is to upload the TikTok footage that was not encouraging anyone to join in or extend violence that had been seen earlier. Much of the stream had been rather amateurish, he argued, giving a view of cobblestones, but showing no acts of violence. So she showed no violence. She threatened no person. She participated in no demonstration. She carried no weapons. And she's going to jail as a convicted felon for 9 months. For 9 months. The United Kingdom is absolutely gone. It is a corrupt fascist state. This is shocking. The country that gave us the Magna Carta to first limit monarchies in 1215 is completely batshit bonkers crazy, as Katie Hopkins would say. This is a disgrace to Western civilization. Absolute disgrace to Western civilization. Wow. Unbelievable. The Independent reports on this as well. Care worker jailed after live streaming an armed group. She wasn't in the armed group. She's just letting people know what's happened. She was sacked by her employer, and now she's a felon in prison, no doubt being sexually abused at this hour, if not already. Stupid nose ring aside. Wow. Others could be heard making racist remarks. She called them tramps. That's it. The judge passed sentence. He said, this lady has not demonstrated an overtly racist attitude, is what her lawyer said. But he said anyone involved in this order must command immediate custody, and with the need to deterrence being acute. Any judge who violates judicial standards with this sort of abusive conduct, imprisoning innocent people, we see this repeatedly. The gentleman who was 61 was in prison for 2 years and 8 months, despite having committed no crime. The judge said in the trial, you have not committed, I cannot convict you of any criminal statute. However, your mere presence was incendiary. Therefore, you must be remanded into custody for 2 years and 8 months. And 3 months later, the 61-year-old Brit committed suicide in prison. Wow. Alter Bridge says, at first I thought it was only OnlyFans. I don't have that either, but I heard it's popular amongst kids who have YouTube. Yeah, well, you can call it a Chinese spy app, but I mean, look, every app you have on your phone is a spy app. Every one of them collects data. Every one of them accesses websites. Every one of them has your information. So you can take your pick. I mean, here's how many apps I have on my phone, okay? Yeah. Every one of those. Travel, finance, genealogy, checking my electric, all that stuff. Broadcasting, all those apps, hundreds of apps. So, look, you can take TikTok for what you want, but it's no different than most of these apps, other than the information goes to an American subsidiary of a Chinese company. So I'm not recommending it. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying that's what it is. Just be aware when you give it permissions. Police can use this inflammatory language thing to crack down on so-called right-wing extremists like the COVID arrest. The police. Yeah, that's right, Flesham, but these aren't right-wing extremists. This young lady obviously is not a white. Calling people who are walking in the street and appear to be living rough tramps is not a slight. It's not abhorrent language. This judge is a disgrace to the judicial process, misusing it. Johnny Metro has a book about South Africa coming out soon. Really, Johnny? Okay, interesting. You wouldn't happen to be Johnny Steinberg, would you? Is that Johnny Steinberg? That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. He said the violence was fueled by misinformation and misplaced far-right sentiment. It spread to various towns and cities across the nation, including, as we know, Tamworth. Wow. The judge said, this is your first foray into the criminal justice system. You have lost your job as a carer. The judge acknowledged that her involvement was after 10:30 p.m., but she wasn't involved after the worst was over. And he said, but her comments were unacceptable and abhorrent. Your judgment is unacceptable and abhorrent to criminal justice. Wow. This guy is just disgusting. Anyway, there you have it. So that's what's going on with that. Is it called Indicock? That's just, none of them are extremists, just worried citizens. Exactly. Right. None of these are actually extremists. The actual right-wing nut jobs are not even being arrested. They're going after honest citizens. They're turning into felons, destroying their lives, causing suicides, and disrupting. While meanwhile, we have South Asians running grooming rings, and they have groomed over 3,000, possibly 4,000 young pubescent and prepubescent English girls in the Midlands as sex slaves and prostitutes over the past 15 years. We know this to be true. The police covered it up because they're pussies, they're cowards, they're frauds. They're afraid of being called racist for simply doing their job. Well, that tide has turned, UK. So don't give up hope. America has turned the tide. We are not tolerating this woke nonsense anymore. Now, last night I heard Justine Bateman attribute it to Elon Musk purchasing Twitter. That's not when it changed, folks. That's when it picked up steam, and when it reached a crescendo of a tidal wave overturning this woke garbage was Trump's reelection. It started in Virginia with a high school girl who was raped by a genetically male student using the girl's bathroom as a transgender. Then the school board covered it up. That led to outrage, shock, and anger about what was happening in our schools. And the tide began to turn 2 years ago. Not when Musk bought Twitter last year, not when Trump won the election. Those things picked it up. They gave it more momentum. And now it's a freight train rolling down the road, crushing wokeness. It won't die, though. Wokeness is a cancer. It's a virus. It's a sick, demented ideology that hates people. It hates white people. It hates males especially. It hates Anglo-Saxons. It hates Americans. It hates Europeans. And it's perpetuated by white Europeans and Americans primarily. Not blacks, not Asians, but by whites. Self-loathing, hateful people. Woke ideology is a cancerous virus. It's a cancer and a virus, and it needs to be extinguished. It does. It also needs to be extinguished in South Africa, but that day is further down the road. We are stamping it out one day at a time right here in America. The resignation of Susan Woja, whatever the hell her name was, at YouTube was also a factor that changed this. So that eased up the censorship regime at YouTube. It's not gone, but it still exists, but it's not nearly what it once was. Wokeness was created for financial purposes. Yes and no. No, wokeness was created for craven political power to divide and bifurcate society. That's what it was created for. And people succumb to it because they're moral cowards. Disney succumbed to it and corrupted ESPN, ABC. Comcast succumbed to it and corrupted MSNBC, as if it wasn't corrupted already. NBC, Universal. They all just gave in. The banks did it. The banks did it. Unbelievable. Why does Charlie not step in and dissolve this corrupt government? Yeah, it's a good question, Neville. I mean, what's the purpose of having a monarch if he can't dissolve the parliament? Hey, Dreon, how's it going? What's the word from Botswana? You've got a new leftist in charge. A clear message was sent to the BDP. They didn't deserve to be in charge. Yes, Maryland thought police are in charge. And SBOC is updating us on the cricket scores. If you're curious, India's leading 257-1. That's pretty bad. John Hutchins in from Arizona. Can you voice facts like South Asians inbreeding? No, you can't. You can't voice facts. You can't say anything in the United Kingdom anymore, Light Rain. They'll put you in jail. In fact, the next time I go to the United Kingdom, I will be very circumspect about what I say about any country, including my own, when broadcasting from the UK or recording there. Yeah, it's not a free society, not even remotely. South African artist called the Kiffness did Eating the Dog. Yeah, and I know, Carly. I know who the Kiffness is. The Kiffness was, and his band were rude and disrespectful to me and refused to come on my channel. Then went on a channel that had 1/10 the number of subscribers I did because I wasn't South African. So I really don't have much use for the Kiffness. I got nothing against him. Just, he just was very inconsiderate and rude. There was no reason to be rude to me like that. They were rather perfunctory. So whatever. Yeah, and his obsession with cat videos. Ugh. Anyway. Patrick said, I can testify that wokeness destroyed the University of Cape Town. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. Greetings, Continuing FM says, new YouTube channel is up and running. Okay. I didn't know there was an old YouTube channel, Continuing FM. Thank you. See what happened to Planteer's stocks over 12 months? Planteer, you talking about the exercise thing? Chris Ayler says, hey, Chris, we haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're well. Hope you're well. All right, let's get to some of the news here, folks, before we run out of time. Harley says, oops. No, it's okay. You can talk about the Kiffness. I got nothing against David Scott. But yeah, just ignore me. So anyway, Sir Ramaphosa has deployed additional 1,000 soldiers to deal with the Zamas. Yep, despite funding challenges. Given South African National Defense Forces in dire financial state, it had to rob Peter to pay Paul so that the operation could go ahead, said Operations Chief Lieutenant General Sangweni. Wow. Deployment of SANDF is in part of the security cluster's effort to address the prevailing high level of illicit mining and related crime. This is an inappropriate use of the military. It's an inappropriate use. Military should be not used for domestic policing, except in martial law. That's it. That is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. That is not an appropriate use of the military. But, I mean, it's an African thing. They love doing that in Africa. So, hazardous gases and heavily armed miners. Cops are not going down the mines, and they shouldn't go down there. I wouldn't go down there. That's insane. Why would you go down there? Police say they will not go underground and endanger their lives to rescue illegal miners in the Northwest as they're believed to be heavily armed. Well, there's no rescue for these illegal miners. They're not trapped. There's not been a cave-in. It's not a rescue operation. They are criminals who refuse to exit the mine. So there's no rescue. And they're coming under a lot of criticism because they won't let people feed the criminals. And the EFF is one of the groups criticizing because the EFF has no relevance. So this, according to Leanne Mattis, their mouthpiece for the EFF. Operation Vala Umgodi lacks humanity. Smoking out illegal miners is causing undue suffering, says Leanne Mattis. No, Leanne Mattis. EFF, that's not causing undue suffering. What's causing undue suffering is their criminal acts and their refusal to surface. They're the ones choosing to stay under. The cops aren't pinning them in. They haven't blocked the entrances and trapped them down there. No, they're criminals, and they refuse to leave their hideout. There's no undue suffering. Stop being an ass, Leanne Mattis. That almost rhymed. Yes. Yeah. Such measures are not only inhumane, but also escalate the risk of a humanitarian crisis as those underground become increasingly weak and desperate, said EFF spokes mouthpiece Leanne Mattis. We understand the devastating consequences of illegal mining on the economy, the environment, and public safety. However, this operation must balance enforcement with respect for human rights and dignity. Denying access to basic necessities does not serve justice. Instead, it risks lives and worsens the suffering of people already in vulnerable situations. Who's in a vulnerable situation? The miners? They put themselves in that situation. And they're not being denied food. They can have food. They simply need to be exit the mine so they can be arrested. Then they'll be fed in prison. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. And once again, the EFF proving their brain dead operation. They have the intelligence of a pissant. Yeah, pissant. I actually got in trouble in junior high school for calling someone who was bullying me a pissant. I got called to the principal's office. My mother was called in, and they're like, your child used profanity. My mother's like, looked at me like, what did he say? Called another student a pissant. My mother said, what? He called him what? A pissant? That's not profanity. That's a little tiny ants. What are you harassing my son for? Duma Bolka will be much more of a totalitarian. Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but he is definitely showing signs it's not going to go well. Africans think they're superior to everyone. He displayed it, says Pablo. I don't know about that. I've blocked that dogs. It will be a lot more nice watching the Colonel show daily. I'm not sure what Jan's talking about there. What's this? Only astutely word a video get through regarding mutations. Simon Webb does this well on YouTube. Worth a listen. Each 3 to 8 minutes long, a single issue. Keith, what are you talking about, man? My videos are usually 5 to 8 minutes on a single topic. Am I doing something wrong? Okay. Thing is, that's not a secret. Everyone knows what's happening and trying to deny it. It's like saying the earth doesn't rotate. Correct. Anyone needs to tap dance a perverse political minefield. Yep. All right. So, of course, it's continuing. What's continuing? State capture, folks. State capture. Yep. State capture continues unabated, according to Paul Pretorius. It's been 8 years since the Guptas fled and 6 since Jacob Zuma stepped down, but advocate Paul Pretorius says state capture remains alive and well. Of course it's continuing, he said. The particular projects that were part of the terms of reference and part of particular investigations and findings of the commission have been dismantled. The particular contracts involving Escom, Danell, and others. That's not to say that corruption under the banner of state capture in the same form is not continuing. Well, that's a very encouraging sign. Not. Well, concerns rise after reports come out of Mozambique that a South African television crew has been detained there by authorities. News Central Television Channel, never heard of it, has expressed deep concern over the arrest and detention of its South African news correspondent Bongani Siziba and camera operator Sombelo Makabisibe after the news crew traveling to cover developments in neighboring Mozambique. Wow. Our colleagues were detained on Thursday while conducting their professional duties as journalists reporting on unfolding events within the country. Despite our efforts, we've been unable to establish direct contact with them since their arrest. Well, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign at all. Well, free the journalist. Well, folks, South Africans are selling their souls down the road again. Barlow World, one of the biggest consortiums in South Africa, a diverse, consolidated company with financial interest and retail interest. Yeah, they are about to be sold to the Saudis. An acquisition offer by a consortium, including a trust owned by the CEO and Saudi Arabia's Zahid Group, is brewing. Shares of the diversified industrial group Barlow World, which sells cars and has credit cards and does money exchange, were poised for their highest one-day gain in 7 months after the company told shareholders it was advanced in ongoing negotiations with a group of investors that were looking to purchase all of the common shares of Barlow World if the talks succeeded. Wow. Falcon Holding, a subsidiary of the Saudi Arabia-based diversified conglomerate Zahid Group, which owns an 18.9% stake in Barlow World already, makes up part of the folks trying to buy this. Wow. So, going to sell out to the Saudis. Well, folks in Rondebosch are up in arms because a protected area is being dumped on by a construction company. Yep. Residents of Rondebosch East are up in arms over the city of Cape Town greenlighting the release of a piece of land that is a critical biodiversity area for mixed-use development without consulting the residents. They have threatened legal action should the city attempt to sell the land. They're also upset that contractors are dumping that asphalt right there. Meerkat says, thank you for your insightful comments on bizarre Morgan Bilzerian interview. Yeah, that was strange, wasn't it, Meerkat? That was crazy. I did that on the other channel. If you want to go watch it, folks, I did a live stream where I went through the whole conversation of Piers Morgan and Dan Bilzerian. Dan Bilzerian is a wackadoodle, crazy. I mean, that guy is a few bricks short of a load, to say the least. Buy stocks from South African financial service companies. Why would I do that? Right. Well, a Bangladeshi man raped a 10-year-old girl. The Palabora Regional Court in Limpopo has sentenced a 38-year-old Bangladeshi rapist to life imprisonment for raping a minor victim. Now, I tell you this story, folks, because if you've got kids, especially daughters, but not exclusively daughters, because pervs rape boys too, but if you've got kids, don't send them to the tuck shop or spaza shop or to the mall alone. Don't leave your kids unattended. The world is full of sick perverts. There really is. There are lots of them out there. And you need to be careful. You need to protect your children from this horrific act. This can scar a child for life. This occurred on May 8th, 2022. The court noted that about 11 a.m., a 10-year-old girl was sent to the nearest supermarket by her grandmother to purchase household items. The victim found a 38-year-old shop owner who closed and locked the door when she was about to leave the premises after buying the items. The court heard that Hussein Akit grabbed the little girl and forcibly dragged her to a room at the back of the building. He then raped the child in the room. And there he is. Creepy bastard. What's he doing? What is a Bangladeshi doing in South Africa to begin with? Following the rape ordeal, the victim was released and she returned home and informed her family about the incident that was reported to the police. A rape case was opened and police launched a manhunt for the accused man. The Bangladeshi national was apprehended on the same day when the case was reported. The case was transferred to the Palabora Family Violence, Child Protection, and Sexual Offenses Unit and assigned to Sergeant Charlotte Lupodo Mkanzi. And she did a great job there, Sergeant Mkanzi there. Yep, through her detective abilities, Sergeant Mkanzi left no stone unturned to ensure the bail was opposed until his sentencing to life imprisonment without the option of a fine. After the conviction, the court ordered that his particulars be recorded in the National Register for Sex Offenders. Wow. The police will do everything in power to ensure that perpetrators face the full might of the law at all costs. Well, that's a good news story, the end, but what happened to that child should never happen. Please protect your children. Please protect your children. Always protect your loved ones, folks. Don't leave them vulnerable to creeps. Well, speaking of creeps, KwaZulu-Natal off-duty cops are kidnapped and disarmed. They had their firearms with them and they're disarmed. Why are they armed then? They're not. Two off-duty police officers were kidnapped in Durban on Thursday. They were disarmed of their service weapons. Someone has been arrested, 34-year-old suspect. Yeah, well, the cops can't even protect themselves. You think they're going to protect you? Navin Ramgoolam. Navin Ramgoolam is the new Prime Minister of Mauritius after the sweeping election wiped out the ruling party. Folks, are we seeing a trend here? South Africa, ANC, loses a majority, as I accurately predicted in November 2021. Botswana, BDP, tossed out on its ears after 6 decades of uncontested rule, essentially. The demon rats tossed aside in America. The only place where things have gone sideways is France and the UK. Germany has an election coming up in February. Let's root for the Alternative for Deutschland. That'll drive the left crazy. Oh, racist! Racist! Oh, you're terrible racist! Unproven comment by them. But yeah, so here is the new Prime Minister of Mauritius signing his document for the swearing in. Veteran Mauritian politician Navin Ramgoolam was sworn in as Prime Minister for the 4th term this week, a decade after he left power. After his coalition's dramatic triumph, his Alliance du Changement, the Alliance of Change, Coalition won a landslide 60 of the 62 National Assembly seats with 62% of votes on Sunday's poll. 60 of 62. Man, you talk about a mandate. Trump thinks he has a mandate. Rob Gulam has a clear mandate, as does Boko in Botswana. SWAPO's next to be falling, folks. Yep. Well, COP29, why Africa's 1.3 trillion climate goal makes perfect sense to former president of Malawi, Joyce Banda, who obviously is a New World Order stooge herself. Climate events can turn on a dime and go from bad to worse. Business as usual only intensify global warming and worsen floods, droughts, and heat waves. Money and inaction are needed at scale to turn the tide. She said developing countries need between $5.8 and $6.8 trillion annually. And guess what? It's my responsibility to give it to them. Bullshit. Bullshit. Not going to happen. Well, let's go back to the bat crap, bonkers, batshit crazy United Kingdom, where they arrest people for appearing in public, or having British flags. This is from the Staffordshire Police. More are sentenced and convicted following violent disorder in August. So a number of people have been sentenced and convicted in the last few days as part of our robust investigation into the violent disorder in Stoke-on-Trent and Tamworth. Danny Hollick, 41, of Tamworth, previously admitted violent disorder and was sentenced to 2 years and 2 months in prison. On November 11th, Edith Green, 55, of Kettlebrook, Tamworth, was jailed for 2 years at the same court after he previously admitted violent disorder. Cameron Bell, 23, whom we talked about earlier, got 9 months. Simon Beach, 23, pled guilty to violent disorder and is yet to be sentenced. Here are the British citizens sent to prison by a corrupt, illegitimate government. Halleck threw a large rock at a police officer and repeatedly challenged the front line. Green told people to target the doors of Holiday Inn Express and repeatedly obstructed police who were on the front line. Bell repeatedly made racist remarks and told members of the group that they should visit other hotels. Racist remarks. She called them tramps. That's not racist. That has nothing to do with race. They have not identified what this racist comment was. The United Kingdom is gone, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely gone. It's sad. Let's take a look at an updated vote total here in the United States, where we still count votes nearly 2 weeks after the election because we have idiotic jurisdictions like California that can't count their votes on time, in Oregon. Oregon has all mail-in ballots. The vote total should have been known election night. What kind of morons are these people? Well, they let ballots come in for 2 weeks after the election. That's why. You can vote 2 weeks after the election in Oregon. This is insanity. So Donald Trump now with 76,070,000 votes. That's 12,000 more than he had last time, continuing his 50.2% majority over Kamala Harris with 73 million, which makes her the top vote getter in the history of this republic as a Democrat, eclipsing Barack Hussein Obama's 68 million from 2008. That's the most a Democrat's ever got. Now don't tell me Joe Biden got 81 million in 2020. That doesn't count. That was nonsense. You shouldn't have to live in a country where that happens to a kid by sending them to the shop. What is going on in the world for this to even happen? Agreed, Alter Bridge. Brian Lawrenson, Savage Daughters here. Ken Aronston, okay. I remember having to protect a friend when he went together to a Pakistani-run shop. I guess my cross mouth got us out of that shop. Meerkat says, I was brought up as a law-abiding citizen to be patriotic, love, and proud of my country. I still am, however, feel embarrassed about so many things. Can't immigrate and have to stick around. Yeah, well, we have to fix things from the inside, so do your best, folks. Well, Republican Senate is facing pressure from the MAGA crowd over confirmations. There's Senator John Cornyn, a rhino. President-elect Donald Trump is wielding his decisive White House victory over the new Republican majority in the Senate to usher through a slate of unconventional cabinet nominees who have got lawmakers reeling. Got the public squabbling. Well, Donald Trump nominated Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., the son of Bobby Kennedy, former Attorney General, to be the head of Health and Human Services. So his uncle will have been president, his father will have been a cabinet member as Attorney General, and he will now be a cabinet member, trying to make America healthy again. Robert Kennedy is pissed off the Democrats. They're losing their minds. They're absolutely bat-crap crazy that Robert Kennedy, the former Democrat, is actually a nominee, and they're fighting it tooth and nail and making the most outrageous allegations. The Trump team is sharing blacklist of people to ban from the second administration. So if you're a twit who obstructed the first administration, you are going to be on that list. There's a list of people that can't get into the administration. Well, I'm definitely not on that list. So apparently people are upset about that. I'm not upset about that. It's nothing wrong with having a list of people you don't want. I mean, that list should include people like John Bolton, Jeff Sessions, Mike Pence, and the list goes on and on. Bill Burr, all of those. John Kelly. Yeah, none of those people should be on there. So Trump praises his cabinet in waiting as he makes another public appearance, and it stirs up controversy in Washington, D.C. He selected Doug Burgum to be his Interior Secretary and named 3 of his own lawyers from his criminal trials to the top Justice Department deputy positions. He heaped praise Thursday night on several members of the cabinet in waiting during a gala where they were supporting his transition to the White House. Yep, had a tuxedo and supporters all around him. He said hello to a lot of people in the crowd, including Elon Musk. So, taking a look at Trump's picks so far, and then 14 of 27 cabinet positions have been completed in just a matter of days. UN Ambassador, Administrator to the EPA, National Security Advisor, Director of CIA, Secretary of Defense, Homeland Security Secretary, Secretary of State, Director of National Intelligence, the Attorney General, Secretary of Health and Human Services, Secretary of the Veterans Administration, Doug Collins, former Congressman, and Secretary of the Interior, former North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Yep, the big one's already been named. So make me the U.S. Trade Representative. I'll take that one. Happy to do that. Trump and I will have fun with that one. Yikes. All right, continue on. These are the lower level, the assistants and such, and we've got 13 announced. Senior staff of the White House counsel is announced. William McGinley, Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Deputy Chief of Staff, Deputy Chief of Staff for Legislative, Political, and Public Affairs, and the Deputy Chief of Staff for Communications and Personnel. Then Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Special appointments, Special Envoy to the Middle East is Steve Witkoff. Border Czar Tom Homan. And Department of Government Efficiency, Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk. Department of Justice, Deputy Attorney General, U.S. Solicitor General, and the Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General, whatever that is. Whatever that one is. Yeah, so moving right along. Trump, as I mentioned, picked former Representative Doug Collins to be the director of the Veterans Administration. That's a great choice. He was from Georgia. We must take care of our brave men and women in uniform, and Doug will be a great advocate for active duty service members, veterans, and military families to ensure that they have support they need. Thank you, Doug, for your willingness to serve our country in this very important role. Trump wrote about the pick. Collins, of course, deployed to Iraq during the Iraq War. He's honored to accept Trump's nomination. Yep, so, all right, cool beans. So Doug Collins will be the Secretary of the Veterans Administration. Good choice. As I mentioned, North Dakota Governor Burgum has been selected to be the Interior Interior Secretary. Yep, Doug Burgum of North Dakota. Well, Pentagon pick Pete Hegseth is making a lot of people angry and twisting a lot of turns and heads going different ways. Washington Post review of Hegseth's writing shows he rejected steps to integrate women and transgender troops across the military, and they call for a crusade to protect Judeo-Christian values. Well, that probably is about something over 50% of the population will support, whether you like him or not. So, Christian voters, it turns out, were decisive in the selection for Donald Trump. Christians came out as they were asked to do, and they turned the tide amongst many groups that made this a dominating victory for Donald Trump. Evangelical pollster George Barna determined that Christians broke decisively for Donald Trump over Kamala Harris, making up 72% of the electorate. 72% of the people who voted were Christians, and he got 56% of Christian vote. She got 43%. That is a cushion of 17 million votes. He's winning by 3 million votes, so he wouldn't have won the race without the Christians. She got just 64% of voters who have no religious faith. So Trump still did well there, 46% of voters who had no religious faith. That's impressive. So, meanwhile, the resistance has geared up in the media. The governors of several states, members of the legislature are already gearing up to fight the administration. We already see Jerome Powell sabotaging our economy, and as the chairman of the Federal Reserve, we also see media lying about what's going on and trying to drive the stock market down in advance of Trump taking office. We already have a big enough mess left by the Democrats and Joe Biden. We don't need any help from leftists sabotaging America's economy and its standing in the world. Jerome Powell and Buffett and Jamie Dimon weigh in on markets. The Trump rally is at risk, and 5 other things you need to know. Yep. Just a week since the election, over a week, and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is already raining on Donald Trump's parade. He said he wasn't trying to, but that's a lie. He is messing with interest rates and causing all kinds of chaos, and he will keep them artificially high, most likely. The Republican National Committee has filed 2 lawsuits in Pennsylvania among the effort by, that's right, he's a senator, Bob Casey, who refuses to concede. They are trying to violate the law. Court has already told them they cannot curate mail-in ballots, and that's what they're doing in Philadelphia. Republicans filed a petition to the PA Supreme Court against all counties to attempt to stop all counties from counting these ballots. They also filed a statutory appeal challenging Bucks County's decision to count undated and incorrectly mailed ballots. Incorrectly dated. We're reviewing the filings. Well, they're not allowed to come in after 8 p.m. Any ballot that came into Pennsylvania after 8 p.m. election day is not valid. Yet, Bucks County reportedly is counting ballots that arrived after that date in time. This is crazy. This is crazy. Well, the GOP is suing over this. Yep. Senator-elect Dave McCormick and his allies have filed legal action to block Pennsylvania counties from counting undated. That's actually factually incorrect. The Republican National Committee is the one who did that, not Dave McCormick. Well, can Donald Trump fire Jerome Powell? Not really, and that gives him a lot of power until his term expires. Yep. President-elect Donald Trump wouldn't have an easy time removing federal chair Jerome Powell if he chooses to try. Powell is signaling he won't go down without a fight and would push back hard if the president tries to compromise the Fed's independence. Well, Jerome Powell, you're full of crap. The Fed is not independent. It's never been independent. It's a pseudo branch of the executive branch, a shadow branch of the executive branch of the federal government. It's never been independent. Stop lying. You've always colluded as an organization, whether it was Paul Volcker, Alan Greenspan, the little Jabba the Hutt troll that was just there before Janet Yellen, and now Jerome Powell. All these clowns. They've all colluded. Trump's trade war will be different this time around. How China will respond. Barron's now running a story trying to undermine the Trump administration before it even comes in. The world is entering an era of protectionism as the U.S. turns to aggressive tariffs, warns one China expert. Now, that is not true. The world isn't turning to tariff war. It might happen, but it hasn't happened, so stop lying about it. Utter nonsense. And Barron says U.S. stocks are headed downward as Powell punctures the Trump rally. Yeah. Powell said the Federal Reserve didn't need to be in a hurry to cut rates and prepared markets for an event at the Dallas Regional Chamber in Dallas on Thursday. Yeah, so he's not going to cut rates and keep interest rates high, making credit more difficult to get for people in the marketplace, for businesses and for home buyers and such, and having exorbitant costs as a consequence. So his artificially high interest rate, which is not in line with inflation, which the government claims has been tamed, but they're still keeping interest rates high. This is the Federal Reserve acting against the administration, the incoming administration, and that is wrong on so many levels. Well, according to reports, the ABC network that is owned by Disney is scrambling to bring in pro-Trump voices to the dystopian View and other shows. They're in panic mode. Now, they claim they're not. They say that The View got its highest ratings ever while it was lying about Donald Trump with its misandry and anti-white hatred and racism. But they actually secretly are upset because they are losing viewers total, and they're going to lose more viewers once the election hubris wears out. Liberals are fleeing Twitter again. This time they're going to Blue Sky. Good riddance. AOC activated her Blue Sky account for the first time in over a year because she's fleeing Twitter. Isn't this funny? I never deleted my Twitter account despite the idiocy and the horrible comments and the abuse by leftist hate wankers on Twitter. I kept my Twitter account. I have a couple of them. I kept it going. I never shut it down and ran away to another platform just because people call me names. These people are babies. They really are. Babies, babies, babies. So, go bags, passports, foreign assets, cowards preparing to be a target of Trump's revenge. Trump has had no revenge. This is ridiculous. He didn't do it last time. He's not going to do it this time. Some prominent critics of Donald Trump and those he's vilified as deep state saboteurs are taking seriously his vow of retribution. A retired U.S. Army officer who clashed with senior officials in Donald Trump's first White House looked into acquiring Italian citizenship in the run-up to the election, but wasn't eligible and instead packed a go bag with cash and a list of emergency numbers in case he needs to flee. A member of Trump's first administration who publicly denounced him as applying for foreign citizenship and weighing whether to watch and wait to leave the country before January 20th. And a former U.S. official who signed a notorious October 2020 letter suggesting that emails purportedly taken from a laptop belonging to Hunter Biden. Well, they weren't purportedly. They were taken from there. Part of a Russian disinformation. You don't want to have to scramble, said the person. All spoke on condition of amnesty because they're all wusses. They're all wusses, and they're all a bunch of soy boys. Wow, they're all going to leave the country because they think Trump's coming after. Well, one person has left the country, and good frickin' riddance. No one cares. We don't watch your dumbass shows. Eva Longoria, who already had left the country because she couldn't live in California, can't blame it on herself and the liberals she voted in office in California, so she blames it on Donald Trump. But she left the country some time ago, and now she's acting as if she's leaving America. She actually lives abroad. Eva Longoria reveals she is one of the few Harris boosters to actually ditch the USA, which is bogus because she wasn't here to begin with. Yep, numerous wealthy celebrities, including geriatric singers Barbara Streisand, Cher, and scriptreader, Sharon Stone, threatened in recent months to leave if Kamala Harris lost. Well, she did lose, and only Eva Longoria has left. But she didn't really live here. She got a house in Spain and one in Central America. So, what a fraud! What a total fraud! That woman is just a total fraud. All right, folks, that's the news for today. Appreciate the large size audience, although we didn't get many people. Don't cry from Argentina, for I always loved you. Next tradition, says Dylan. It must go so that space is made for us. I might have, but I'm more. What's this? I want the CIA to read it first, as it's very controversial material. Okay. You want to send your book to the CIA? Vivek says he'll something start on veterans support to stop. I don't know what you're saying there, Chantel. Your message is unclear. You're claiming that Vivek is going to cut veterans' benefits? Okay. They want to start Doge cuts, okay. By eliminating funding for unauthorized programs, including veterans health care. Okay, Vivek Ramaswamy, new office, okay. We shouldn't let the government spend money on programs that have expired. It's exactly what happens today. $500 billion goes each year to programs which Congress has allowed to expire. 1,200 programs. Okay. One is the Veterans Health Care Eligibility Reform Act of 1996, which helps provide funding for veterans' medical care. The authorization expired in 1998, but still receives $120 billion in funding. Okay. So, what the hell did this thing do? I don't even remember that. I was still on active duty, so I didn't really pay attention to this act in 1996. Let's see what comes up. Okay, to reform eligibility for health care provided Department of Veterans Affairs, to authorize major medical facility construction projects and to improve administration of health care by the department. Okay, I'm trying to find something. Very complicated. Oh, there's the actual bill. It seems to be a program wasting $120 billion determining who's eligible for VA care. I don't know why they need that. So I don't know. I didn't know that he said that. So, yeah. So thanks for sharing that. Wish we had a border czar to protect your coastline and border. Yep. Out at the end of the month, 2 books actually. Part 1 and 2 of a trilogy. Are you self-publishing, Johnny, or who's your publisher? Okay. Who's your publisher? Bags of cash lying around. I would be more worried about vibrant criminals than imaginary Nazis. Ariana Grande should leave for Turkey. Yeah, exactly. Delusional left should have their own social platform which they can polish each other's egos. Well, they have Threads, and they have Blue Sky, and they have Mastodon. Let me see if I can get in my Mastodon account. Is it even on here? Mastodon. I don't know if I have it on here. I had the app. Let me go to where I have all that social media stuff. What's that? Joy. Okay. Mastodon. Don't see it here. I know I have a Mastodon account. Yeah, but the left loves Mastodon. Let me see if I can't find it. So here we go. Let's try that. By the way, I posted a video about AOC on Twitter. Oh, no, I meant to do it up here. So let me see. Mastodon. Looks like I haven't signed in a long time. Okay, log in. Yeah, it's been a while, so I'd have to look it up. Anyway, yeah, Mastodon's still there, but the left loves Mastodon, and nobody uses it. Nobody uses it. Oh my goodness. Walt Disney Records. I didn't even know Walt Disney had records. That's interesting. An email here from Walt Disney Records. So I have my Afrikaans podcast. Yeah, there you go. Afrikaans pod. It's to learn Afrikaans. Yeah, so I don't that bill from 1996, it's the authorization is ended. It's not even supposed to be in place. So I suspect that the services can be performed by existing programs, and that one should just go away. If your book is that controversial, the CIA is already in your computer, says Light Rate. Sean Folshank says, AOC leaving X looks like even she couldn't keep up with Elon turning it into the Wild West. Why there's no real tax haven in Africa besides Seychelles or Mauritius? Probably because Africa's financial infrastructure is underdeveloped, and no country had the vision to look long term. Botswana, not getting any feed. Am I live? Oh, there, I'm live. Okay, good Lord. All right. She's so dramatic. Yeah. Probably both enjoy reading the letters that Roman soldiers sent during the occupation period. Yeah, no. That's interesting stuff. They found stuff before from those who were up at the Hadrian's Wall and the border forts. They found things before. Typical soldiers complaining about the food, complaining about the conditions, complaining about boredom. Typical soldiers. Yep. 27 November, says Garrett. Okay, that's the Namibian elections. For some reason, 30. Maybe because it was 30 October for Botswana. That might have been stuck in my head. Anyway, folks, we've got Cyril Ramaphosa coming up here in a few minutes. I'm going to redirect you automatically to that. Okay, let me go ahead and take care of that now. And I'm going to take a short break and go to Lou. You can do the same if you like. And we're going to have the squirrel coming on here, and we will have him up on here in a few minutes, and we will hear what he has to say about food poisoning in South Africa. Apparently, it's become such a serious issue that the ANC even pays attention. So, Erica, maybe you'll finish your dinner and come back in time from that. All right, so we'll be back here shortly with Cyril Ramaphosa. So thanks for tuning in, folks. Really appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like button before you go. And do we get directed? You don't get directed to Ronaldo, Keith. You get directed to my stream. I am broadcasting it. All right, now we'll see you there. They have the media, Hollywood. Yep. So, all right. 96 people here. Let's see how many of you show up for that. And then I'll go check on the ones who say and betray us and go to Ronaldo. We'll check in on you. See you in a few minutes, folks. Thanks a lot for being here. God bless, and have a lekker Freitag. Cheers.